Get in the know. Non-stop Vikings talk. It's Purple Daily on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
I tell you guys I love you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I will ride with this group until they don't let us play anymore games.
Time to play the game.
That's for Declan.
Time to play the game.
I had to play that one for Declan. I added a couple things to the soundbar here. People were like, you guys need to add some Kevin O'Connell clips to the soundbar. Dude, I played this on loop, Declan, yesterday to the point where I got goosebumps. Judd, tell me if you get goosebumps listening to this, all right?
I tell you guys I love you. I mean it from the bottom of my heart. I will ride with this group until they don't let us play anymore games.
Time to play the game.
That's a nice mixing job by you.
Thank you, yes. Thank you. Probably going to get a copyright violation for that,
okay.
but
Thanks,
it's
WWE.
okay. All right, WWE, a little bit litigious.
Oh, no, that's right.
Yeah, well, whatever. If we need to cut that out, we can.
We'll be
But
okay.
hey, welcome in. Purple Daily Vikings entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a Super Bowl before we die. And one of the ways to win a Super Bowl is to draft well. And tomorrow night, the Vikings have a chance to do just that. And we will be celebrating, hopefully with as many of you as possible, at Park Tavern in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, for the Surly Park Tavern Draft Party. 6 o'clock doors open in the 11th frame section of Park Tavern. It's kind of like a private bar area in the back. There's also there's a spillover tent area. We'll have the draft and also Purple Daily streaming on the TVs inside the place. So 6 o'clock doors open. 7 o'clock is when Purple Daily goes live on the YouTube channel. There's going to be some giveaways. You can also, there's some great stuff going on tomorrow night. A couple little surprises for some of you, but 15% off all merchandise as well, whether you're on site or whether you are just watching on your TV. 15% off all merchandise through draft weekend at scorenorth.com/shop. Scorenorth.com/shop. And draft party attendees can test drive a 2023 EV throughout the night as well. It'll be parked out front of Park Tavern. So we're super excited. This show is presented by our friends at TCL. No matter what you watch, TCL has award-winning TVs for any budget, any space, all with stunning picture quality. TCL makes more than just TVs. They offer mobile products, audio devices, home appliances. TCL brings you joy and simplicity through innovative technology. Learn more at TCL.com. Happy NFL Draft Eve, gentlemen. We are one day away.
We are one day away
time.
from the unknown, though. That's what makes this great. The complete unknown. The potential for chaos is high. Like if I was a sports forecaster and I am looking at the draft maps right now, I'm saying the potential for chaos is incredibly high. You might have to take cover. You don't know what's going to happen. Go down to your basement and watch the draft because all hell could break loose tomorrow night.
It's time to play the game. Do you think, though, that because everyone expects chaos that we're going to have chalk? Or we're just going to 4 quarterbacks go off the board in the top 5 picks? And
the odds that we reach maximum chaos are probably not super high. But I do think I think we're going to get at least one fun curveball. I think something's going to happen that has been forecasted, but will still be fun. And perhaps it could involve the home team. Perhaps the home team could be looking at trade options, let's say, starting with the 5th pick.
Well, okay. Say no more, because today is a Wednesday, which means we go on the record with our Write That Down predictions. Maybe Judd can put one of his predictions out there for the world to judge. But Dex, if we could hit the theme music here. We're the only show in America that does this. It's Write That Down.
Most make predictions and then never admit they're wrong. Yeah, that's not Mackie and Judd. This is the place where we just totally own our horrible predictions.
Write this down.
And eat them for breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
Write that down.
It's Write That Down
Write it down. You like writing things down.
with Mackie and Judd.
Only show in America that actually keeps track of our predictions with statistics. It's Write That Down on both Purple Daily and our other daily show, Minnesota Sports with Mackie and Judd. 3 football or Vikings-related or show-related predictions from everybody each week. They must be quantifiable. That's really the only set of rules. We keep track of completion percentage and touchdowns. And listeners, if you want to be like Henry and be a guest listener participant, you can send us a message. Send it to Declan specifically through the Score North app. We'll get you scheduled for sometime here in the coming weeks. So we'll start with the accountability session here, boys. Not a whole lot. It's, we're just kind of in the calm before the storm period here. There's going to be a lot of things coming off the board next week after the draft.
Oh boy.
So Judd, nothing for you. I did at some point say Aaron Rodgers would stay with the Packers for the 2023 season. So we'll take that one off the board. I don't know what I was thinking there. Listeners had nothing come off the board. And Declan,
Hey, Al.
you said long ago, early, I think it was sometime, toward the end of last year, I guess, but you said this will be Aaron Rodgers' last game against the Vikings as a member of the Packers.
Hey,
So for getting out in front early on that one,
Nice.
little touchdown pass for Dex.
Touchdown.
Nice work there. So here's what it looks like. The listeners still have not thrown an incomplete pass. Now they only have like 3 completions. I think they're 3 for 3. So we'll see what it looks like after the draft is over. But 100% completions for the listeners so far. 1 touchdown. Judd 71.4% with 3 touchdowns. I'm at 50%, 2 touchdowns. Declan 35.3%, 1 touchdown. All-time stats going back to 2021. Judd leads with the 35.7% completions, just ahead of Declan. I lead with 35 touchdown passes. So there's your brief accountability session. Let's get Henry in here. Henry is the guest listener predictor joining us here. Are you in a car? What's the situation here, Henry?
I am indeed in my vehicle. Yeah, I drive around for work, so I get to call from the vehicle today.
Awesome, man. So you've been on Ventline a couple times. Tell us, what is your background as a Vikings fan? Like, what's the first Vikings memory you have?
Some of my earliest Vikings memories are definitely watching like Culpepper and Moss, and definitely from that era, late 20s. I've been a fan since I was forever. I think the first and only time I've ever cried in a sporting event was when we lost the NFC Championship in 2009.
Yeah.
I remember being in my parents' living room and a little tear coming down my eyes like, dang, that's sad. That was tough.
Dude.
But yeah, I bleed purple and gold. It's my favorite of any sports team. So
it's always kind of amazing when you realize as a kid for the first time that sports can hurt you like that.
Mm-hmm. You realize it's a true, like, you love what you're doing. You're like, man, I am into this team.
Yeah.
It's more than just something to watch. It's a passion.
And then they rip your heart out time and time again, and yet we come back and no one can explain why.
Yeah.
We like the pain. We're all slightly sadistic, probably. We like the pain.
All right.
Bunch of masochists here.
Yep.
So we're gonna
The
go
Minnesota
around.
Masochists. That should be our new team name.
Exactly. We might have to make a shirt there. 15% off promo. I should have said promo code draft, by the way, for the merch shop. 15% off promo code draft. We'll add the masochist shirt at some point here, but that's scorenorth.com/shop. So we'll make 3 trips around the room here. We'll start with Henry, over to Judd, Declan, back to me. You're under center, Henry. So no pressure, by the way. Only 100% completions for the listeners so far this year.
Don't screw it up.
Well, I'm going to be throwing a little bit more around the field, I'm hoping. And since I'm under center, I'm going to start off with one about our quarterback. I do love me some Kirk Cousins, but Kirk will not throw for more than 4,000 yards. He will throw it for 3,999 or less in 2023.
Okay. So just off the record, do you think he gets banged up for the first time in his career? Do you think he gets replaced by a quarterback that's been drafted? Or he's just not productive? What do you think happens?
Combination of better running game, where we're going to probably run for 2,000 yards this year. So if he throws for 3,800 yards, it's not as bad if he's, throwing for that. If we're rushing for more than 2,000 with a 3-headed beast probably at running back, I'm thinking. And also, I would not be shocked if, the injury thing. He's been so strong and stalwart for so long. It could happen. It could finally be that year. But if all the buzz is that we're trading up, who says that he'll finish the year starting for us?
Oh, look at Henry is engaging in some.
I believe he also did not say for the Vikings. So, like, San Francisco is going to be very disappointed when those stats come true with him in a 49ers uniform.
Can't say for the Vikings. Exactly.
That was well
That's how you
done.
play the game. Yeah, you don't get too specific, or you can
Yep.
get bit here on write that down. All right, Judd, over to you. What's your first prediction of the week here?
Write it down. You like writing things down.
I've got to write that down prediction already about what I think the Vikings are going to do. I think I said at some point in time that they were going to trade back. So I am going to bring in another agent of chaos among the 32 teams that call the National Football League home. Write this down. The Packers will trade up from the number 13 spot in the first round Thursday night.
Wow, where's this coming from?
Off the record, I think we don't know for sure that they love Jordan Love.
Oh my God, dude. Oh my God.
And there is a quarterback class out there, all rookie contracts.
Oh, John.
Rodgers is gone. Agent of Chaos is here.
Wow.
So the same front office that drafted Jordan Love to replace Aaron Rodgers, you think would move off Jordan Love before he even really plays as a starter?
Odds are very small, but here's the one thing I think is a new philosophy. I think the new philosophy is this: if you think you did it wrong on the quarterback, punt.
Yeah.
Like
there's no owner. You're not gonna get fired.
Well, the Cardinals, what they did too. Yeah, they did that with Josh Rosen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like it used to be, if you screwed the quarterback pooch in the first round, you probably got fired, right?
Yeah.
Now it's like
who's firing you. Is it like the bagel eating mailman from Kenosha that's a Packers owner?
And do we know technically who drafted Love? I still think that there's a chance that Mark Murphy, who's president, had a big say in that.
Okay. Man, Mark does think he knows some football.
I'm not sure Goody is. I'm not sure he really runs that team nearly as much as he wants you to believe he does.
Goody.
Write that down.
All right, over to Dex.
All right, my first write that down of the day. The Vikings' first 2 picks in the draft will be offense, defense, respectively. So they will.
Is this an exacta box or an exacta?
An exact position prediction. So the first 2 picks, the first one will be an offensive player.
Okay.
The second one will be a defensive player. So an exact order of offense, defense, 1, 2. Those first 2 picks that they make in the draft will be offense, then defense.
Okay.
Write it down.
All right, write that down. By the way, we have a ton of all of the big mock heavy hitters are trying to get their last mocks out here. I keep seeing more come across. So we will get to tomorrow. We'll do a big, probably Kuiper, McShay. We'll do the last big mock draft roundup in the morning tomorrow on Purple Daily, but we do have some we're going to get to shortly here. So
write that down.
Write this down. The Vikings will trade up for a quarterback at some point in the draft.
Oh.
Okay. Could happen in the first round.
I like
maybe they see Tanner McKee or Hendon Hooker falling toward the 87th pick or something, and they decide, let's jump up to 65 and make it happen. At some point in the draft, they will trade up and draft a quarterback.
Okay.
Write it down. Just playing the game, boys. Just playing the game.
Write that down.
I can see that with Tanner McKee too. That's a good write that down. I like that.
All right, we're back to Henry here.
Second, write that down. It'd probably be more fun if I did it the other way, but the Vikings will draft more defensive players than offensive players.
He sniped me.
Oh, wow. He sniped Declan.
There we are.
Henry's sniping
That's the game,
Declan.
man. That's the game.
Time to play the
You
game.
play to win the game.
Love it. All right, Judd, your second prediction.
All right, I'm going to also make a prediction about the Vikings' first 2 picks, but it'll be different than Declan's. The Vikings' first 2 picks will not be made at the order that they are slated to pick in. So the Vikings' first 2 picks, their first round pick, and then what would be, well, right now a third round pick, will not be made at where they're slotted.
Got you. Trader Quace. You know what's funny? Trader Rick has been doing a lot of commentary about like Vikings draft picks and whatnot. How do you guys feel, just real quick, about yesterday? I think it was Pete Prisco from CBS. He's like a CBS NFL insider guy. And Pete wrote something about how Will Levis is this great quarterback and this and that. And Rick Spielman from his Twitter account, that's right, Rick is on Twitter, Spielman_Rick. And Rick tweeted, Pete has lost his mind. So Rick is out on Will Levis. Does that make you want to run to the podium, trade up to the number 2 pick, and grab Will Levis and go against Rick's quarterback instinct?
Absolutely. His Twitter handle should be _ponder. That should be his. So we all know it's Rick Spielman.
I drafted _ponder. Yes. Yep. The underscore is the important part.
Write that down.
All right.
All right, I'll modify this since Henry sniped me there for a little pick 6 on that prediction.
You're welcome.
So I'll have to go back to the drawing board here with another trick play. Just a little chunk play for me here. The Vikings will draft at least 4 defensive players. They have 5 picks in the draft. They will draft at least 4 defensive players. Write it down.
That's kind of it's not really a parlay, I guess, because they have
It's
5
not a
picks,
parlay.
but it's this might be. Is that a touchdown?
I don't know.
I'd say if you said 80% of their picks or more would be defense, that'd be a touchdown.
I agree with Henry. Yes. I just want to give the option there. If you want to change it to make it a touchdown,
well, we can discuss too once it's
we
done.
can discuss. How about we discuss?
Okay, we'll discuss.
Take that offline.
We'll discuss it. All right, write this down. Dalvin Cook will be traded or released, but it won't happen on draft weekend.
Okay.
Or I should say, it won't happen before the end of the draft. So sometime after the draft, Dalvin Cook will be traded or released, is maybe the better way to phrase this. I think they've been trying to get a pick for him, but it's going to wind up being a post-June 1st situation. That's off the record, the post-June 1st thing. But if it's not going to happen before the draft, it might as well happen post-June 1st for cap purposes. So keep an eye.
Write that down.
All right. Back to Henry,
All right.
third and final prediction.
Third and final prediction. The Vikings will not pick between 11 and 29. So they'll either trade into the top 10 or out of the top
Henry,
20.
you've been
This is
studying the
genius
game
prediction.
for a
I love
while
this.
here.
I love how Henry's blending. He's blending some reckless speculation in here too. Yeah, he knows what he's doing. This is great, man. Well, since you've got this life-changing platform right now, Henry, is there anyone in your life you'd like to thank that helped you get to this pinnacle moment?
My dad, of course. He's been the man. He's what got me into football, and I'm going to pass it on to my son, who's coming in July. So,
Congrats.
Nice, dude.
another
Congrats.
generation of Vikings fans.
Yeah.
Also, I've gotten to buy Judd a drink before at Park Tavern, and I still owe both of you guys a drink. So if I see you guys on Thursday, you got one on me.
Awesome, man.
Yep, I
Yeah.
just moved to St. Louis Park, so I might be there, but I did just move, so I want to make sure, getting the new place settled too. So we'll see if I make it.
Maybe you and Judd can carpool together from your St. Louis.
pick
Yeah,
me
I'm right
up.
on Excelsior, so I'm not too far.
Yeah, got country. Yeah, that's fine. Yes,
Perfect.
Just like that's a little
see
out
you
of
at
my way.
5:15.
It's, yeah.
5:15.
Perfect. Sounds
Pick
like
me
a
up.
plan.
Thanks, Henry.
All right, man. That's
Absolutely.
great stuff, man. Henry, good luck with your predictions. Hopefully see you tomorrow night at Park Tavern.
Sounds like a plan, gentlemen. Thank you.
All right, great stuff, man. So, all right, Judd, let's round it out here. What's your third and final prediction before we get into some speculation and mocks?
Danielle Hunter will be a former Viking by Monday.
What? Whoa!
Danielle Hunter will be a former Viking
Reckless speculation.
by
Oh,
Monday.
man, this has gone off the rails.
In other words, he will be traded during the draft.
Okay. What do you, off the record, what's your thought here? Do you think do you think he gets traded for, probably like before day 2?
Yeah, I
Second,
think it's going to be
third,
for
kinda?
draft picks, and it could be for I could see it being for draft picks in this year's draft potentially, and next. Like, I think Danielle Hunter gets you a decent haul.
Yeah.
He is, and I just don't know that he fits into what they're trying to do as far as age and contract term. And Danielle Hunter, in his no pun intended defense, probably deserves one more really good contract.
So what do you have to say to the naysayers out there in Vikings blog and podcastville that say, well, wait a second, Judd. If he's traded before June 1st, the Vikings cap hit that they have to pay for him goes from $13 million to $19 million. That they have to, it's actually more expensive for 2023 to trade him than it is to go post June 1st or extend him or whatever. What's your response?
I've been told the math on that is not necessarily 100% correct.
Okay.
So I don't think it's as expensive as that looks. And look, those sites are great and they're very helpful, but they're not always right. And so what I've heard is that the actual ramifications coming back aren't as bad. But the thing too is this: if that is true, this team elected to bite the bullet on Adam Thielen.
Yeah. Part of their goal is to also clear space for Justin Jefferson's extension at some point.
Yep.
They did pick up his 5th-year option. Whew, I was a little worried that they didn't want
And
him
he'll
around
be
for a
extended
5th
probably
year.
by training camp. And the thing too is, like, for all that we get concerned about the cap, it's very, very clear that this team is also trying to target the future. And right now, they have 5 draft picks.
Mm-hmm.
And didn't the Packers just trade Aaron Rodgers for a humongous dead cap penalty against them as well?
So apparently he like restructured his deal at some point. I saw some report. I shouldn't throw this out without preparing to actually speak intelligently on it, but there were some reports this morning that he like restructured his contract in the last couple days.
Yeah, and the Jets converted, and I think the Jets also took a bonus and converted it into a signing bonus, which helps on the immediate cap hit. But again, there are ways to get around things at times. And I just think that Danielle Hunter fits the profile of a player who would get the Vikings, because I think we thought, well, trade Thielen and trade Cook. And the reality is they're not going to get you much back. Mm-hmm. In some cases, they won't get you anything back. This team needs to use some of its value. The other thing, too, is as good as Hunter is, I just don't know that he likes standing up in a 3-4. Like, he's a hell of a player, but I mean, this guy spent his career as a 4-3, hand in the mud, in the dirt, grinding it out from that end. And now you're like, hey, we're going to do this and that. And I think in Brian Flores' defense, he would be improved. All of that being said, he just strikes me as the guy who would get you a really nice return.
Yeah, it's the one, he's just at that age where he's 28, right? You could justify maybe 2 or 3 more years on a contract and then write him, say goodbye. But at the same time, you could also make the argument he's been super banged up. You got kind of lucky that he wasn't banged up. He played all the games. Why not sell high before he has no value, right? Does he have more value to you under contract the next 2 or 3 years as an injury risk and a guy who's a little bit close to the elite edge rusher age curve, or does he have more value as a trade chip? And that's what they have to figure out.
And I think what you could do, too, if you trade him, is redo Za'Darius's contract way more short-term and bring him back.
I love how why did Za'Darius peace out? And he's like, all right, thanks for the memories. Like, dude, you're technically still under contract for 2 more years. It's really early in the offseason.
I think he's super,
just chill,
intense,
man. Yeah. I guess. Okay, back over to Declan here for your third and final prediction.
All right, write it down. Just a draft prediction, not necessarily a Vikings prediction. 4 quarterbacks, 4 will be drafted between picks 1 and 20 in the first round of the draft.
Okay.
4 quarterbacks will be drafted between picks 1 and 20 at the NFL draft. Write it down.
All right. I'm going to hit you with a similar one here.
Write this down.
Hendon Hooker will be one of the first 4 quarterbacks taken in the draft. I think he's going to jump someone. Maybe it's Will Levis. Maybe people are freaked out about C.J. Stroud's test scores, or maybe the test score was wrong. Who knows? If his test score was actually an 18, that dude's probably going to take a tumble. But there's enough Hendon Hooker steam out there, and there's enough sort of uncertainty about a couple of the other guys. Hendon Hooker will be one of the first 4 quarterbacks taken in this draft. So there we go. That's the pre-draft. Write that down session here. The only show in America that actually keeps track of our predictions with statistics and holds each other accountable. Judd, you received an interesting text with a little bit of steam and a scoop from Doogie that we should get to, and a couple interesting mocks. But let's shout out our friends at Livia, helping Purple Daily listeners lose a lot of weight over the past couple of years, changing their lives.
Absolutely. There's some question marks, obviously, when it comes to the first pick on Thursday night in the first round. But when it comes to your weight loss program, there's no question about the first overall pick. That would be Livia Weight Control Centers, who took the guy on the left and turned him into the lean, mean fighting machine that those of you watching now see on the right. And you're saying, Judd, how did you do it? You must be unbelievably disciplined. And I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't do it alone. Livia Weight Control Centers helped me drop that weight, and they can help you as well. In fact, I'm going to talk to someone today who is 5 pounds away from 100 pounds off. Think about that. Wow. 100 pounds off. So no matter how much weight you need to lose, they can help you. And here's the best part right now. First 3 months, if you sign up, are free. First 3 months are free. 855-GO-LIVIA, livia.com, LIVEA.com. If you are looking to lose weight and keep that weight off, there's no question about what card you should take to the commissioner to have him read. You are drafting Livia Weight Control Centers.
I just saw another crazy mock, a fairly credible mock come across. I'm going to keep stockpiling these. In the meantime, Declan, talk about golf, if you could.
Absolutely.
Talk about golf.
I would go to the Meadows at Mystic Lake.
Talk about golf.
Talk about golf. Why don't you go shoot 100 there, Dex? Tee times are open. at the Meadows at Mystic Lake. I'm looking right now. We got one, May 8th, 2 Mondays from now. I could leave Mackie and Judd dry for a little bit on Monday morning, tee off at 8:06 a.m., let them figure out their lives without old Dex tweets, because I would like to do that. No, can't do that. All right. Well, I'll be at the Meadows regardless, so you can plan without me. Go to golfthemeadows.com to book a tee time now. You can get the frequent player card still. It gives you access to earlier tee times too. Go to golfthemeadows.com to book that tee time.
And a shout out to our friends at Federated Mutual Insurance Company. Federated, been around for over 100 years, helping businesses maximize their success. Special emphasis too on if you are a next generation business owner, maybe you're taking a business over within your family, or maybe you're just a younger business owner or business leader. Federated is here to help you. Federatedinsurance.com, where it's our business to protect yours. All right, Judd, let's start with an interesting text from our friend Darren Doogie Wolfson.
So there's been a ton of steam, including from us, that the Vikings have done more due diligence on quarterbacks in this draft class than most teams. And certainly the most they probably have done in numerous years when it comes to the draft. But we haven't known exactly okay, what does that mean? Like, who are they talking to? What's the extra work? Doogie has peeled back the onion to help us understand that. He reported on the bonus scoop on Tuesday that the Vikings, while they did not bring Hendon Hooker as one of the 30 prospects to visit TCO Performance Center, the Vikings went off-site, probably to where Hooker lives, perhaps, to meet with him privately.
Okay.
So they did meet with him, which again is why I think there's been steam about the Vikings' potential interest in drafting him. Now, this was texted to me this morning by Dukes as well. So he is reporting that in addition to the Vikings connecting with Anthony Richardson at the Combine, he has now been told they spent more time with him than almost any other team. Anthony Richardson.
You're saying Doogie's saying the Vikings spent more time with Anthony Richardson than almost any other team.
He has been told, and so in addition to the allotment of time that you're allowed at the Combine to sit down with prospects, they did what they did with Hooker, which is they visited with him, it sounds like elsewhere, more time than any other team.
Are they like sneaking around? Are they just like, hey, let's meet at the Waffle House, back left booth, okay? I'll be wearing a fake mustache.
You might be right.
You have sunglasses on. Okay, let's talk about your completion percentage.
O'Connell's wearing a wig.
Got that innovative vest without the sleeves on it, you know? He's
the jacket vest thing, right?
The innovative jacket without the sleeves.
Yeah. That's a nice jacket.
Yeah.
Quasi comes in with like a fake mustache on himself.
Yeah. Hey, shh.
Don't call me crazy.
Interesting. So I guess like to put all this together, literally all of the mock drafts at this point, not all, but like 90% of the mock drafts have the Vikings drafting a quarterback. A lot of those mocks are based on information. In fact, this is probably a good segue because I just saw this come across.
I want a mock.
All right. So Brett Coleman, I don't know if you guys follow him, but Brett Coleman does great film review breakdowns on YouTube. I think he has like 200,000 subscribers or something on a YouTube channel. I think he does some work for NFL teams as well, but a very prominent sort of NFL media YouTuber extraordinaire. And I'm getting this summary from the Vikes Insider Twitter account. Interesting. Brett Coleman has the Vikings trading all the way up to pick number 3 to select Anthony Richardson in his annual mock draft. Quote from Brett Coleman on the mock: "This is a combination of what I expect to happen and also what I would do."
Wow.
Vikings trading up to number 3.
Well, that lends credence to Duke's report.
So interesting. And then I literally have 8 prominent mocks in front of me here. Well, a few of them haven't come in. We're waiting, I think, for tomorrow.
Don't OD, dude. Don't OD. Be careful.
I want to leave some food for tomorrow. We're going to get Kuiper, McShay, Daniel Jeremiah, Peter Schrager probably tomorrow. I think those are kind of the Mount Rushmore mockers.
Okay.
You could probably argue a couple in there. So let me hit you with a couple more. We'll do a couple more today, and we'll save a couple. And a couple of these haven't come out yet. But Chris Sims is another prominent sort of quarterback evaluator. He did have Kellen Mond really high on his list a couple of years ago.
I feel like his mocks tend to, or his rankings tend to be purposely different which is not a bad idea, as clickbait. I'm not criticizing that. I'm just saying I feel like that's what he did.
He tries to make noise with his takes, I guess is the best way to put it. So he has the Vikings drafting Hendon Hooker with the 23rd overall pick. Okay. And this is what he writes. We all know this is Kirk Cousins' last year there. They've got a chance here to build something with Justin Jefferson. They've got a guy that's ready right now. I'm telling you, he, by a lot of people, is viewed as way higher than the 23rd pick in the draft, Hendon Hooker. To me, he's got big-time starting quarterback potential, and I would want him to have the option of 5 years, which is why you would draft him in the first round. So Chris Sims, does it make you more or less confident in Hendon Hooker that Chris Sims is very high on Hendon Hooker?
Less. I still think this is a big smoke screen.
Okay.
Less. I don't know that I buy this. I think Richardson to me is the guy who's a developmental case who I think a lot of teams still like a lot.
Okay. So, and then I'll give you this one. This is great. All right. This is from the 33rd team, boys.
Yeah, I read this one.
It's a collection of NFL executives and former players. So this particular mock draft was done by Mike Tannenbaum and Rick Spielman. So if you're wondering who would Rick Spielman draft if he was still running the Vikings with the 23rd pick, I have an answer for you.
Called two guys I wouldn't hire to run my team.
Mike Tannenbaum's pretty good on TV, but
I think he's worse than Rick as far as a GM.
Yeah. So I'll go through this here. All right.
Yep.
They've got Bryce Young, number 1, Will Anderson, number 2 to the Texans, Tyree Wilson, number 3 to the Cardinals, CJ Stroud to the Colts at 4, Jalen Carter to the Seahawks, and then you go Devin Witherspoon, cornerback, Christian Gonzalez, cornerback. There's a cornerback run here. All right, I'm trying to find quarterbacks. They also have 15 million videos loading on this website, which slows everything down.
Yep.
Okay, interesting. Will Levis, 12 to the Texans. Jackson Smith and Jigba, 13 to the Packers. Hendon Hooker, 18 to the Detroit Lions.
That's
a Tannenbaum pick.
That's an interesting one.
They're alternating picks here. That's a Tannenbaum pick. He says, I'm going to go with a bit of a surprise here and take Hooker so he can sit for a year behind Jared Goff, whose contract is coming up. And then Anthony Richardson goes 19 to the Buccaneers. That's a Spielman pick. So he says, Anthony Richardson needs to make better decisions with the football. The question is, how quickly can he process and read defenses? I think that will come with experience. So getting Richardson at this spot makes a lot of sense. Rick. And then we get to the 23rd overall pick, where Rick Spielman is on the clock for the Minnesota Vikings. And he selects from Texas Christian University wide receiver Quentin Johnston.
I want a mock!
And the write-up from Rick is, cornerback was under consideration for this pick. Shocking. But Johnston was just too good to pass up for the Vikings. Johnston has a long, rangy, athletic receiver with great speed down the field. He also does an excellent job with the ball in his hands after the catch. The Vikings cut Thielen, but still need a partner to go with Justin Jefferson, making Johnston the right choice. Rick Spielman.
Can I actually, on this topic, can I play a little clip that Phil Mackey made on ESPN Radio with Jason Fitz on this exact type of scenario?
Great
that's been laid?
Football minds think alike.
So a little backstory. Mackey made a draft pick for the Vikings at 23 with Fitz and Harry on ESPN Radio, which you can hear right here on Score North and AM 1500.
Yes.
And Jason Fitz, friend of the show, by the way, right? He hung out with us in 2019 when Game Day was here. He had this to say when Mackey made the same selection with Quentin Johnston at pick 23.
I hate this pick for the Vikings right here. And I hate this pick for one very simple reason. I'm looking at the board, and Hendon Hooker is still sitting there. You're the Vikings. You are constantly in this Kirk Cousins conversation. Yep. I am stunned. And look, like Phil Mackey knows the Vikings better than anybody. I am stunned that Phil wouldn't look at this as an opportunity to address the quarterback position perfectly, because we all know Kirk Cousins isn't going anywhere right now. You can get another year out of Kirk Cousins while Hendon Hooker is easily brought along. And as we were talking earlier about guys that could learn from guys, there's a lot that Hendon Hooker could just learn while he sits and gets himself healthy, and then the Vikings have their next quarterback. I will be, if we're sitting here on Thursday night and they take a wide receiver when Hendon Hooker is sitting there on the board, I don't know what they're thinking, Harry.
Well, that's what I consider Jason Fitz a friend.
No, you don't anymore. He just whipped you, and I heard this.
Friendly fire right there.
I got a note from Dex about your appearance, and I didn't know that it was just a dip in for a pick. So, like, I went on and tuned to ESPN radio. I'm like, okay, Phil's on. And I heard them just torching this guy. I'm like, oh, my God, what happened here? It was you.
Okay. Couple things. For one, they had a bunch of different people that cover different teams pre-record their draft pick. The producer sends you, hey, here's where we're at in the draft. You want to record a pick and send it in. And Hendon Hooker was still on the board. And I think what they did was they may have cut some of my analysis. Maybe I was a little shocking long-winded, and they might have cut it to just my pick. What I told them was, if the Vikings only have one pick in the top 86 picks, I don't think they take Hendon Hooker. I think they would trade back.
Clearly cut that out.
I said I think they would trade back, get some extra capital, and then maybe take Hooker later. But if they stand pat at 23, they take Quentin Johnston, a weapon they could put across from Justin Jefferson. So maybe out of context.
Their version of Declan, like, totally cut you and silenced you.
Mm-hmm.
I feel betrayed. I feel betrayed. So
tight ship.
All right. Well, there you go. There's your mock draft update. So for tomorrow, we've got a Vegas odds mock. We've got the PFF 7-rounder we can talk about, sort of the analytics perspective, and then we'll get the Mount Rushmore of mockers are going to come in the next 24 hours and drop their final mocks. Kuiper, McShay, Daniel Jeremiah, the Peter Schrager final mock.
Right now, what does your gut say?
Trade up for a quarterback. That's what my gut says.
Declan.
But I don't know which quarterback they love. Sounds like maybe.
And are you talking like
Anthony
a top
Richardson
3? Or are you talking like the 5?
I don't know.
I mean, the price has changed substantially when we're.
I think here's what I think. I'm putting myself in Kwesi's shoes for a second. Mm-hmm. He thinks in probabilities. He doesn't think in absolutes.
Yep.
They clearly like Hendon Hooker. They've spent a ton of time with Hendon Hooker. They clearly like Anthony Richardson if Doogie is correct. You're going to have to trade up probably into the top 5 or 10 to get Anthony Richardson. You may have to trade up to get Hendon Hooker if some of the steam of like him going in the teens is correct.
Sure.
But if it comes down to giving up an extra first round pick or 2 to get all the way up into the top 5 to get Anthony Richardson, or stay closer to 23 and get Hendon Hooker, what we don't know is how far apart do the Vikings have those guys? Does Kwesi think there's a 70% chance of Hendon Hooker being a good solid quarterback, but there's a 30% chance of Anthony Richardson? But if Richardson hits his upside, he's the best quarterback in the NFL, right? Like, I don't know how he processes where those guys rank. So my gut says they do draft a quarterback in the first round, and my gut says they trade up to get that quarterback, but I don't know if they have the stones or the capital to get up to like 3rd or 2nd.
Dex?
I think they stay put at 23 if all those quarterbacks are off the board, those four, the 4 guys. I don't think they'll take Hooker at 23, so I'm excluding some Hooker there. So I'm talking obviously about Stroud, Richardson, Levis. I think if all those guys are off the board by about pick 12, 15, then they'll stay put. But if one of them slides into that late teen range, I think they're going to be very tempted to move up. I think they're going to be very tempted. But I personally believe they're just going to stay put at 23. That's kind of where I'm at.
What do you think?
I think they tried to move up. I think it's going to be incredibly tough. And ultimately, if they don't, I think they move back. I think the longest shot is they actually drafted 23.
Yeah, I agree.
I don't think they drafted 23.
It doesn't make sense for the 23rd pick to be their only, because if they pick at 23, then they don't have a pick until 87 unless they trade up. So I'm with you. They either take a shot and go get someone, a quarterback, or they trade back, get an extra 3rd round pick, and play the volume game.
I also think they give up, if they do trade up, I think they give up one future first, but not two. And so that becomes the question is, what's the price? I think getting up to 3 would be too difficult.
Okay.
Like, I think they're trying or have tried. I think they would need to give up like a 2024 and 2025 first. And I don't think that they're going to give up 2 first-round picks.
Yeah. So fascinating. Well, we are going to let it all play out with you guys tomorrow night. Park Tavern, 6 o'clock, doors open. 7 o'clock, we go live on the Purple Daily YouTube channel. This will be, if this was anything like last year at Surly, and it was raining and stuff, freezing rain, this will be covered from the rain. It's going to be an absolute blast. And we'll see what the Vikings do, boys. That's a wrap here on this predictive episode of Purple Daily Vikings Entertainment. We just want the Vikings to win a dang Super Bowl before we die.